Welcome back. I want to begin analyzing sheet number 5. Sheet number 5 is beginning to look at the outer structures. The trend is, the sequence is to look at the base, as we did on the last video, the foundation. Then look at the outer structure, which we're doing on this sheet. Then from there, look at the inside structures. That is the sequence that these plans follow. It doesn't have to be like that for construction. Of course, I believe you have to start with your foundation for construction. Then you can probably move to the inside next. Following foundation, inside structure. And the reason why I believe is a good idea to start with the inside structure first is because the inside structure is self-erecting or self-sustained. It doesn't need the outer skeleton, the outer structure for support. So it's self-supporting. So you can use that as scaffolding. You can use the inside structure, which goes quite a bit of ways up into the top of the dome, and perhaps more than 3/4 of the way. And you can use that as scaffolding and platforms to build the outer structure. But the way it is right now, the base plan is followed by this one. I may change that shortly here in the future, and we'll describe this sheet number 5, which is the exterior skeleton. It's called the exterior skeleton, which is basically the name I gave to this structure here. This is the exterior skeleton in its finished form. Of course, it doesn't have any paneling or any of the covering that it would have as a finished project. But this is the actual structure, the exterior structure, as finished, as far as the structure is concerned, the skeleton. And we'll go over the various parts as we move forward. We'll begin with this top view. I have again the same layout as the last sheet. 2 top views, 1 top view from east to west, south to north, and then rotate it 90 degrees to go from west to east. And then this would be south to north. So again, the south side being the entrance, north side being the exit. As you can see, the structure is sitting on top of this circular block array, as shown in the last plan. And it is basically an array of arcs that go around a common center being the very center of this one column, this pillar. And as you can see, the arcs are attached in the center by what I call struts. These are pieces of lumber, 2x4. They're designed to be the size of a 2x4. They don't necessarily have to be lumber. Actually, these here in the center are designed to be a material other than lumber, like composite, dense composite. And these can be lumber, but can also be composite. And these are nothing but, different size or cut to size struts, pieces of lumber, rectangular in shape. They're not curved at all, each one. And these are the dimensions for them, and they are basically put together, arrayed, and attached in a pattern using 4 bolts at each attachment points as depicted here. There will be another view with a larger, more easily seen pattern for attachment. So as you can see, these struts, these pieces of material, they're rectangular in shape. They're just attached to each other using bolts and perhaps sealant, some sort of cement or bonding paste for a more secure attachment. And this will be the same for every arc. Every attachment point will be the same. Okay, and that is for the arcs. So that is the overall structure of the arc, which goes to the other end as well. As you can see, this arc going from east to west begins here on the base, comes up. It is perhaps supported here and here by these 2 columns. Then keeps going here. It is attached to the center column, and it continues here. So it is very much separated by this column. These 2 pieces don't directly touch, but the load is shared with the column for each one of these arcs. It is securely attached to the column using, again, braces and bonding chemicals, paste, etc. And that will be shown on details how those will be attached, exactly how they will be attached, what are the attachment points, and the recommended fasteners to use, whether it be bolts, most likely to be bolts, or it could be also deck screws, or a combination of that with brackets and braces, and of course with sealant or bonding material. As you can see, these arcs here in between, the ones that come all the way to the center column, are cut, or they end right there, like these two. They cannot all come to the center, of course, because that would overcrowd this area, and it would make it pretty much impossible, or very inconvenient and non-practical to attach it to this center column. If we came here, it'd be very difficult to attach it, securely attach it here, especially if you come in with this one as well. So those will end right there, those two in between. Only 8 will come into the center. The rest will remain this far, only secured and attached to this alloy metal ring shown in gray here. This ring is basically manufactured with a series of cuts and holes to fit these and secure these, every single one of these struts. And they will share their load not only among each other, but indirectly they will share the load with the center as well. The load will be shared through these struts that are attached to the center, through the ring, when securely attached, tightly and securely attached. I've given dimensions for some of the things here. This is not a 4x4, this is more like a 6x6 or 5.5 inch by 5.5 inch. That needs to be corrected. This dimension here is not correct. Very brief and generic descriptions are given for the structure. You can see the anchor bolts here. They're not 6 inches, they're more like I believe I said 16 inches or 18 inches. Also, these being the entrances, have these extra struts here that go all the way to the top of the first level or the bottom of the second level, as seen here. Oh, perhaps can't see those there, but as you can see, there's that door frame that I described earlier. It is an entire piece that goes inserted basically to put a door here. So there's a double structure here, strut structure that goes 1, 2, 3 struts high. Again, I show the dimensions of each strut very close in dimension, perhaps identical. They show as 45 centimeters, some show 46, 47. I believe these ones are longer. Yes, they're not identical. These are longer, 51 centimeters, 48, 47. This one here is 41. So yeah, I would follow these dimensions. Here's a description of some of the major items here. I described the 1x6 belt circumference made of wood. It's a double stack. There's 2 of them, as you can see, one on top of each other. And I'll describe some of the other things, such as a insulating material here, or fabric that goes right inside of that. And the way these struts are secured, there will be another sheet that shows that with a lot more detail. But just to begin explaining that, they are attached to these horizontal belts using these triangles, what I call triangular braces. And what these triangular braces do, they attach this horizontal belt to the struts at each point, at each one of those locations where they come together. And also they provide a attachment point for the overlay strip, which is shown right here. These overlay strips, these here, as you can see, they do need an attachment point, so they cannot go straight on the strut. They would not be curved like I'm showing them. And for that, they go attached at each triangle. Here, 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 there, 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 and there. These triangles are all of a specific size dimension, which I will detail in another drawing coming up. Moving to this view, this top view here shows the difference between that view and this view is that this view just shows the struts and the triangles, the braces. This view here goes further and shows the overlay already installed, and the belts. The belts are shown here as well. These belts each are designed to be of lumber wood, 1 inch by 4 inch. This right here is not necessarily, it is not a continuation of these, but it's a manufactured cap that has to be manufactured basically to continue these overlay strips all the way to the center and provide a cap that almost perfectly matches to where these come in at. And I will show that with a bit more detail in another drawing. I do show some descriptions of that. I call it a 1x4 composite overlay strip array. I show some dimensions of each of the circumferences, like for these 1x4 rings or belts. I do show the radius for each one of those, radius from the center, which would be the center of that column. And those are the main dimensions. Also, I do show the heights to each one of those, to the bottom of each one of those belts. These belts, these 1x4 belts, I show the heights. The height to there, to that, which basically that is the height of the door frame, and the width of the door frame, which I believe, this may be mistaken, I believe that to be about 6 feet, if I'm not mistaken, but it may very well be that, so we'll have to verify that. Some more dimensions given and more descriptions, including the window pane and the window here, which again is designed to be molded plexiglass. This is designed to be glass. The height of the window 5 foot. The height from what I believe to be block, the top of the block level, to this is the top of the first deck, first level. Again, the top of the blocks is not the floor line. The floor line is about 6 to 6.25 inches up from that. Probably about the line where this is right here. That's the floor level. Again, showing the bolts, carriage bolts here that support, that maintain the curvature for that steel belt. Excuse me, that wooden belt, double stacked belt. And the belt, what it does is, again, it holds on. There's a slit here cut into each one of these struts that nicely and snugly fit into those two belts, and these belts hold these struts from spreading out, because by gravity the natural tendency for these struts is to spread open outward, and what that does is basically prevents that, holds them in place. The ring itself will do the job, but these bolts will further provide that counter force, counter push, prevent it from spreading. Even if these are not a whole piece, of course that's not going to be an entirely whole belt or ring. That will need to be split in various locations because of the nature of the material used, lumber, or even if it's any other material, it is doubtful that it will be an entire belt or ring. So that also provide a way for that ring or belt to maintain its shape through the years. And that, my friends, is sheet 5. We'll leave it at that. Do go over it, read every description. Again, this is not the latest version, but it's close to it being it. And the latest version will of course be posted on the link available. The link available is in one of these videos. I am not sure which video exactly, but it's in one of these videos provided. Do look for that, and do look for the previous and future videos on this subject. Thank you.